donated my swimmies to my sister's girlfriend, and I'm now a proud uncle to my donor child. Congratulations on your new niece, nephew. As someone conceived by a donor and told by my parents from a very young age, I highly recommend letting the story be known by the child from the beginning. When I was a toddler and asking, "Mama, how do babies get in their mom's bellies?" she said, "Most of the time daddies put them there, but your daddy was sick so we went to the doctor to get you." Maybe something like, with a lot of couples, the daddy puts the baby there, but since you have two mommies, your Uncle Pavignan and their doctors helped instead. As they get older and start to understand the mechanics of sperm, eggs, you can talk about medical procedure and donation and such. I've been meeting many half-siblings over the last few years, long story, and out of all 14 of us that I've spoken to so far, I'm the only one that grew up knowing what was up, and I'm the only one who has always been perfectly fine with the situation. Everyone else had a mini existential crisis over it when they found out. Don't think anyone will read, but if someone does, here is some info to this picture. The smiley lady beside me is my girlfriend, not my sister, nor her girlfriend. They are not in the picture. The little girl in front is what came out of this experiment. Her name is Sibel, and she got created by gathering my stuff in a little cup, sucking it up through a syringe and inserting it in the mother's womb 9 months ago. She's 6 days old here. It was a weird sensation to take her in my arms for the first time, mainly because I've never held a baby before. Very fleshy, naked, heavy, warm, weak feeling. I got used to it after a while, but somehow I imagine babies to be more sturdy. She does not feel like my child. I don't feel all fatherly about it. We up front knew what the deal was, so I wasn't much a part of her life beyond chasing her out of my balls. And there she is. We are her godparents. And she does feel like a particularly special niece, of course, and I can't wait to see her grow up. Edit cleared up some confusion about who and what. Also, I did not donate my swimming shorts, however logical that would seem. Thanks for the post, but I'm still so confused. In your title you mentioned that you donated to your sister's girlfriend, but don't mention a sister here. I've been thinking it through for a while. Is this right? 1. Your sister has a girlfriend. That is, they are in a same-sex relationship. 2. You donated sperm to them, and your sister's girlfriend is the one who carried it. 3. She gave birth, making you officially the uncle of the baby in the picture. 4. Even though you donated the sperm, you don't feel like the dad. You feel comfortable in the role of uncle. 5. The woman in the photo with you is neither your sister nor her girlfriend, and doesn't come into the story. Is that right? If so, number 5 is the part that confused me for the longest. Regardless, congrats. Oh, thank you. It was a very weird situation, to have my sister, her GF and my GF sit in the living room waiting for me to do the thing. I asked them to turn up the television volume and sat on the toilet with the door locked. No other lockable doors in the house. It can't take too long because it'll be like you're taking your time too quick, and it's like, is this exciting for you? But you actually want to be quick because it gives everyone less time to think about it. But obviously you get distracted yourself, so in the end, it's just weird. Everyone accepted the weirdness of it, and such is life. That child is coming into this world surrounded by love, blessings and mazel tov to becoming an uncle. For me, being an aunt is one of the highlights of my life. As a note to your future good work, I was really worried for a minute all the seeds of knowledge, how to be a good human being, etc., would not sprout. Little one went nasty when the hormones hit. I didn't recognize them. And then, after the hormone smoke cleared, I saw all the little seeds I planted had sprouted. They had deep roots. You love that little bean now, but it will never stop expanding. For everyone saying this is super weird and don't understand, this is the only way for same-sex couples to have a child that remotely resembles the DNA of both parents. Some people don't have the privilege of just having a kid whenever they want. People take for granted the ability to have a child that's half you and half the person you love most. These people are just trying to get as close as they can. Biological father certainly isn't the same as being a father. People donate sperm all the time, Donating sperm to his sister's partner is a wonderful gift that allows his sister to have some genetic relationship as a biological aunt to her daughter. Most gay couples have to choose which parent gets to be genetically related to their children. He's not skimping out on some kind of responsibility here. I don't know why everyone keep trying to tell him he's the father like he owes child support. He knows, but his relationship will be as an uncle. This is probably gonna be more like he donated a kidney in their family dynamic. Some of you people are ridiculous. You criticize them as disgusting, but can't give a good reason why it's considered disgusting. It's not usual, but there's nothing immoral or unethical about it. The kid might grow up a bit confused, but it's not like they'll suffer through lifelong trauma by realizing they're an IVF baby, and their biological father is the sibling of their biological mother's partner. There's been millions of people born though and it doesn't sound much different from a person being raised by a parent and a step-parent, with a separate parent involved in their life. My husband did the same, with his sister's girlfriend. All three are lawyers, so this was the legal step they took to protect each other and the baby. My husband relinquished his parental rights, and his sister legally adopted the baby. That way his sister can make important medical decisions for the child, is recognized as a legal parent if there's an emergency, and in the event his sister's-in-law, they're now married, divorce, he cannot be forced to pay child support. Congrats. My two kids with my husband love having a half-sister. My sisters-in-law were also totally cool about their baby book, recognizing the swimmies from the beginning. And for those considering the same, ours was a home job. My husband delivered his donation to his sister in the guest room, and they took care of it from there. It took 3 tries, but voila. That child might get jealous of your own children later on when she finds out you are her real dad. To all the people who say that we can't know what a baby will think in a decade or two, that's absolutely right, so don't assume everything will go smoothly, and don't tell people who have a negative view about it that they are in the wrong. Also, second point, if being the sperm donor shouldn't be that important regarding parenthood, if being a parent is an then and not about that, then why would you want your child to have the same genes as yours? That's contradictory. Also, would it be okay to impregnate, for instance, your father's new wife because he can't procreate anymore but still want to have children? The common sense would be to say number. Then what is the limit? Why would it be okay to impregnate your sister's wife and not your father's? Hopefully those kind of beliefs won't leave the social group you and all your supporters belong to. And in my opinion, holding your biological child and thinking, "This is not my daughter," doesn't make you better than fleeing daddies. I'd be interested to know whether your paternal instincts flare up regardless of the agreement. What I mean is, even without going through all of the day-to-day rituals of being an expectant father, might the paternal instinct arise just through the simple knowledge that the kid is genetically yours? This isn't to judge. I'm genuinely interested to know if you're currently feeling a kind of standard uncle's affection for the kid, or if there's another dimension to it on account of the unconventional arrangement. Have you guys discussed the psychology of it and the kind of things that might arise in future? You are in a whole lot of financial hurt when they break up. I'm hoping you either had a good lawyer draw up a contract or live in a place where it is unlikely that she can come after you. Otherwise, that kid will be calling you dad and she will be calling you to see where the child support payments are. If you only have a verbal agreement, they will be calling you Uncle Dummy. Edit. I am not hoping this will happen. It is just a possibility and has happened to other people. From comments above, I see your family is going to be upfront with the child. As an adopted person, I really am glad you all have decided to be honest and loving with the child. This is a lovely story. I'm not having a great day today despite my best efforts, and reading this put a smile on my face and genuinely improved my mood. Congratulations to all of you, and Sibel is so lucky to have so many people who love her. The people who are disturbed and making horrible comments about this, I pity. This is a beautiful celebration of life and you all need to open your narrow minds up a bit. When my child was born, the thing that really grabbed me in the moment, and freaked me out a little bit, was looking at her face and seeing all the similarities to myself. It didn't last long. She grew into her own person. But that first reaction was something different. Did you feel anything like that? I know emotionally this wasn't your child and you are detached from that kind of feeling, at least beyond being the rad uncle, but did you have any kind of reaction to the physical side of things? See, funny enough, you have is that I don't want children. Yet my younger brother had a brain tumor that affected his hormones and most likely his chances of having a kid. That's where I had the same idea. Satisfy our mom's wishes for grandchildren, by giving her a kid technically from both sons. And then I can roast my brother every time I see my little offspring walking around. I've donated a decent amount of sperm, and I have conceived with more than a dozen women, many of whom were lesbians. I can confirm you are and will always know you're the father. Like it or not, you'll have that in your mind every time they send you a pic or video, every time they make a decision that you don't influence. So you are the uncle and the biological father. Lol, in any other circumstance this would sound and be so wrong. Congratulations though. Hope you really thought this through. Child is going to be quite confused and has to answer some weird ass questions down the line. My father is also my uncle, but at the same time, it's kinda awesome that the baby of your sister now shares a similar gene pool as your family. So nice and weird at the same time. Still, all the best wishes. We did this too. My husband had no swimmers left after 2 bouts of cancer, subsequent chemo. His older brother and his husband are childless by choice, so he offered to be our donor. It took a few tries, and now our daughter has an uncle donor dad too. PM me if you want a chat. You did such an awesome thing for your sister and her partner. On a serious note, I wonder if there are any psychological effects to this. Like, in a way you are the father but it's not your kid, which in instances of just donating it to a bank then never seeing or hearing about what happens to your swimmies, I think you would be fine. Now I feel that's a different story when being around that kid your whole life. Congrats. I hope they have a long happy relationship together. However, I am curious on if their situation somehow becomes rocky, difficult and leads to separation if there is ever a point where you will step in. Lots of states have lots of varying laws in this area, but where I live you would technically be second kin behind the mother in event of tragedy. Did you sign those rights away? I watched my friend do this exact situation and it tore him apart when the child ended up in a foster home and he couldn't even adopt the kid because he gave up all rights and the courts refused to reverse them. He basically had to watch his child suffer while he could do nothing. It was very difficult for everyone involved. I could type out the whole situation, but moral of the story is you never know how the landscape of the world and relationships will change. Always leave a back door in case the situation or a change in your mind occurs. Example, they break up and her being the biological she gets 100% of the rights and your sister gets nothing. In some states you would have a stronger claim as biological father. On top you never know if as the child grows and you start to see yourself in him, her you might want more. I'm optimistic these situations will never happen for you. Just saying, leave yourself options. The world is a crazy place. Congrats to your family. I'm sterile and my doctor recommended us to do this. Either ask my father or my brother. I haven't even talked about this with them because even when they're my family I feel like there's a lot of psychological stuff I have to come to terms with and I can't help to feel weird about it. It's not like the alternatives would be any less weirder. And even if I was fine with it, then they have a lot of psychological stuff to come to terms themselves if they decide to donate. And thinking about it, it sounds pretty weird too to later look at a child that is not yours and having that thought in the back of your head, I made that. Maybe I'm not ready yet. Frown. My net sucks today, so I saw the headline several seconds before the picture. Apparently some part of me is clinging to enough purity to think that you meant some sort of floating swim aid. I'm going to blame the unexpected heat and lack of caffeine for jumping to that conclusion, but congrats to you and the new parents. Everyone looks healthy and happy and we need more of that right now. Unconventional families are getting more unconventional, but hey, I'm just learning to lean into the strange new inner workings of families these days. Nothing surprises me anymore. I wish I had this kind of trust with my siblings. If they donated their swimmies or edgies or whatever, they would just take that as permission to hugely overstep their boundaries and think that they have some kind of third parent claims to it. So I admire your relationship with your sister. Good on you. This might seem like an absolutely deranged question, but what would have happened if your sister instead decided to become the recipient? Do they check the donor beforehand, or would there have been a chance for a technically brother-sister conception? I'm pretty sure there was a Modern Family episode that had this exact same premise. I mean, from a purely logical standpoint, this is the ideal way to have a kid for lesbians, but emotionally, it just kinda peeves me out a little bit. The kid might be really confused when he realizes that his mom was impregnated by his uncle, who is his dad, and that his other mom is actually his aunt. Lol, here's my favorite case for how this guy ends up on Taifu. His sister and her GF have a falling out and break up. The GF goes to war in court and gets full custody, and then takes the brother to court and forces him to pay child support for the life of the kid. So, you're the biological father of your sister's baby. That's going to confuse some people, lol. Guess it'll be easily corrected by someone if anyone asks. But definitely the first time I've seen it. I feel like this isn't uncommon though, because you're close with your sister. She's gay, her girlfriend becomes a good friend with you, and she wants your sister's genes in her kid, so you provide your sister's family genes via your genes. Actually works out well for them, because your sister feels like the baby is biologically hers as well, since it does share familial genes with her. Awesome thing to do for your sister and her partner. Awesome, uncle. Not to rain on your parade, but I hope you all have a bunch of money set aside for therapy. It could go well, but there's a million ways shit could go sideways for the four of you, and possibly your GF too. I don't really feel one way or the other about the whole thing, except that this is peak white people shit, so I do wish you good luck. I would ingest all the good and bad from what you're reading in here. It shouldn't be weird, but you have to admit it's weird. If you truly plan to be the uncle, you should probably have some legal documentation arranged. This is a crazy world. You should also probably all agree on a proper age to fill in the kiddo. I can only assume you're close with your sister to pull this maneuver, so watch your boundaries. You may become attached and depressed. Relationships aren't a guarantee, and you're the biological father who the state will come after for child support. Take it all in and plan for problems most won't face. Congrats to any would-be donor reading this. If you wish to help someone conceive, you must go through a legally designated donor clinic to avoid possible child support entanglements later. There was one case where a divorcing couple did not want to involve the donor, and the state benefits agency went after them anyway for child support. It was not a legally binding donation in the eyes of the law. I get donating sperm to a complete stranger who you'll probably never see again, but knowing that the baby you helped create using your sperm, who is literally your child, will never call you father, would wreck me. Still, I wish all the best for you and the mothers, man. Congrats. I hope they have a long, happy relationship together. However, I am curious on if their situation somehow becomes rocky, difficult, and leads to separation, if there is ever a point where you will step in. Lots of states have lots of varying laws in this area, but where I live you would technically be second kin behind the mother in event of tragedy. Did you sign those rights away? I watched my friend do this exact situation, and it tore him apart when the child ended up in a foster home and he couldn't even adopt the kid because he gave up all rights and the courts refused to reverse them. He basically had to watch his child suffer while he could do nothing. It was very difficult for everyone involved. I could type out the whole situation, but moral of the story is you never know how the landscape of the world and relationships will change. Always leave a back door in case the situation or a change in your mind occurs. Example, they break up and her being the biological she gets 100% of the rights and your sister gets nothing. In some states you would have a stronger claim as biological father. On top, you never know if as the child grows and you start to see yourself in him, or you might want more. I'm optimistic these situations will never happen for you. Just saying, leave yourself options. The world is a crazy place. Congrats to your family.